This is the list of the top 100 Roblox games out there, and today we are going to rank them. And I know the first question that comes to your mind is, did I make this chart? Yes, I did. And the second question that comes to your mind is, how's the ranking going to work? Well, here I am to possess three factors that will decide the ranking. The first one is, how fun is the game to play alone? Second, is it as fun with your friends as well? Third, and the most important one according to me, is how's the gameplay? How does the game play out? And how's the story? If there is a story element in the game. And yeah, those are going to be the three factors. And now, even before we start the rankings, I have to say this. Some of the rankings which I give to certain games might upset you. You might want to burn me for that, but that's fine. Definitely watch the video to the end so that you can comment down later below in the video, L opinion, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Alright, let's do this. Alright, first game, Brookhaven. And I give it an E tier. Don't click off the video. It's a joke. It's a joke. I'll admit it. I'm not a big fan of Brookhaven, but I can see why people like playing this game just because of its role-playing element and the incredible amount of stuff that you can do in its game. So definitely Brookhaven, an A tier game. Next up is Adopt Me. Played it earlier as well, and I just have to say, just because of its fashion sense and the ridiculous stuff that you can wear as a character, just for that I'll give it an A tier. Next up, it's Tower of Hell. I mean, I'm not a big fan of obbies in general to begin with, so I think I'll give this game a B tier. Moving on towards games like Blox Fruits, Piggy, and Murder Mystery 2. According to me, these games are S tier, 100%. Next up is Meep City. I've played Meep City as far as I remember. Oh yeah, I remember playing this game. This was my character, I remember. I played this game. I didn't like it that much, I'm gonna be honest. I tried fishing. That's one thing which I remember vividly. So to this game, I think I'll give it a... And don't get upset with me on this, but this is a C tier game. Next up is Royal High Campus 3. In the Enchantverse, just one scepter spell away is a magical boarding high school for those who want to change the world. Enter the castle. What is this game? The castle is amazing though. The world design is incredible. Okay, just the scale of this Roblox game, I like it already. So, and I'm pretty sure it's fun to play with your friends, but it's just certainly I wouldn't enjoy. I'm not a big fan of this game, but I can see why people like this game. So, an 8-tier game. So, next up is Pet Simulator X. Oh god, I'm not a fan of Pet Simulator X, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like the thing with Pet Simulator X is, right, it's very repetitive in its way. It's like it's the same stuff keeps on happening again and again and again. And of course it feeds on gambling as well. I know some people love this game. I feel like it's just filled with microtransactions and stuff like that. Honestly, if you ask me, it's a C tier game. Moving further ahead in the list, there are games like Bloxburgs, Bed Wars, Jailbreak, and All-Star Tower Defense. I think all of these games are pretty much A tier. Okay, you know what? Maybe Bed Wars is S tier just because of the skill gap and the competitiveness available in that game. So definitely Bed Wars is S tier. Next up, Arsenal. Oh god, Arsenal is my favorite football club, and it's one of my favorite Roblox games because I'm just insane at that game. Just because I love this game no matter what people say. S tier game. Let me show you how good I am at this game. Next up, it's Work at Pizza Place. Do you guys like the pizza that I drew? No? Not a big fan of it? Okay. I found it interesting, but now that I've played so many games, I can confidently say that it's not that of a great game. So, and with that, our entry to the first D tier is Work at Pizza Place. Livetopia. Now, just from the name of the game, I don't like it. We're not gonna base off a thing. Livetopia, it's a roleplay game. No, I'm not a big fan of RPs, dude. It's such a fine game. It's just that I'm not a big fan of this game. Like, yeah, the world design is fine, but the most important criteria, as I said earlier, was how does the game play out and is it actually fun to play or not? And it really doesn't pass in that area, for me at least. I mean, you guys might like it. I'm not a big fan of it. So for that, it's going to be D tier again. Wow, I can feel you guys hating me right now. Next up, Doors. Like, I don't even have to play that game to show you guys Doors. You haven't even played Roblox? Know that Doors is exceptional. Like, if Piggy and Arsenal are S tier, so what do I put Doors in? God tier. God. I just still remember the first time playing this game and just being blown away by how great the game is. Anyways, next game, Flee the Facility. kind of like, you know, Dead by Daylight for those who don't know. And I think it's fun with your friends for like 2 or 3 rounds, then it starts getting, you know, kind of boring. So for that, I'm gonna put this in B tier. Tower of Misery. Is this another hobby? Just from the name of it, I think it's a hobby. Yep, it's an hobby. Even though I'm kind of good at it, but man, do I hate hobbies. And the music is annoying. E tier. I think if Tower of Misery is unfortunately E tier, then Tower of Hell also will come down to E tier, guys. Guys. I know the ranking might look a bit of lackluster, but come on. If I do not like Tower of Misery, it's only fair that if Tower of Hell comes down as well. Build a boat for treasure. I'll be a bit, you know, lenient and give it a C tier. Next up is Tower Defense Simulator. Now the word tower just gives me PTSD. But if a tower defense is A tier, and I honestly think if this game's design is a bit better, then I think I'll have to give this game an S tier game. Next up, King Legacy. So this game, King's Legacy, it almost feels like it's a ripoff of Blox Fruit. So just for that, I'll give this game a B tier. Next up, Rainbow Friends. Rainbow Friends, I don't even have to tell you guys, Rainbow Friends is good. It's got good story element to it. It's a survival game. I like it. And so that's why I'll give it an S tier. It's not a god tier like DOS, but it's S tier. Next up, Natural Disaster Survival. I love this game. I am in love with this game. No matter how many times I play it, I still love it. And even though it doesn't have many features to it, it's fun to play with your friends every time. Even if you want to play alone, it's fun. And just for that, I'll give it a S tier for sure. Next up, it's Evade. I've played Evade as well. I like Evade a lot. Evade is going to be an A tier as well. Moving on to games like Hide and Seek Extreme, The Hood, Designer Kitchens and Islands. According to me, all these 4 games were pretty much B tier. Meanwhile, Bee Swarm Simulator was the 3rd entry into E tier. I had no idea what was happening in that game. On the other hand, games like Break-In, Superhero Tycoon and Prison Life are definitely A tier. And the 2 new entries to the S tier are Mad City Chapter 2 and Shinobi Life 2. And on the side note, what a great music does Shinobi Life 2 has. It's incredible. Stop. S tier. Okay, next game on the list was Fashion Famous. You know, once in a while I come across a game which makes me feel like I might not be the right person to judge the game or rank the game. So I just made a new tier below the E tier. It's the question mark tier. And the question mark tier is for you guys to rank, the audience. You guys get to decide in which rank the game is going to go in. So the first entry into the question mark tier is Fashion Famous. Let me know in the comments down below. Next up on the list was Epic Mini Games. The name by itself is pretty self-explanatory. The game was definitely had a bunch of other smaller games in it, and all of them were mostly fun. So definitely I'll give it a B tier game. Alright, let's speed up the ranking process because I don't think you guys want to hear me explain every single ranking that I guess, because there are 100 games in the list. So I'm gonna just do some quick rankings with quicker explanations, and we'll move on to the important games, the ones which everyone is here for. Gacha Online, I loved it just for the fact that you can become an anime character and be so B tier. Next up in the list is Floor is Lava. Floor is Lava is somewhat similar to, you can say, Natural Disasters, but not as good as Natural Disasters. I know the concept isn't the same, but in some practicalities it is similar. So a B tier game because Nat Sim is, you know, amazing. Next up in the list, Color Block. Color Block, it's a D tier game. Next up on the list was Spider, and Spider was unintentionally hilarious. And you know, when I did get the chance to become a spider, I was unstoppable. So definitely an A tier game. Next up on the list was Ninja Legends. Now Ninja Legends was 100% going to be an A tier game, and that was the case till I lost my duel, and that demoted the game to B tier. And if you ask why, well, the reason is
because I don't lose. All I do is win. In life, ROBLOX.
Next up, Twilight Daycare. Now I played Twilight Daycare. I didn't really understand what was happening, so I was going to put the game in the question mark tier. That was until I figured out that you can pick any random kid and just go away with him. And that was hilarious. So it got an upgrade from question mark tier to E tier. Next up, Dungeon Quest. The game, the music, the maps, the weapons, everything incredible. S tier. Next up, Your Bizarre Adventure. C tier. Next up, Survive the Killer, another Dead by Daylight kind of game, but it actually has the killers in this game, so a B tier game. Funky Friday. No idea what was happening, so I'm gonna put this game in the question mark tier. Next up, Mega Easy Hobby. How many hobbies will I have to play? It's a D tier game. Next up, Berry Avenue, another RP. I don't need to play it. It's B tier. Dumb Ragdoll game. Now this game I could not find it. So question mark tier. 3008, a game that is set in IKEA, and I love IKEA. The curtains behind me are from IKEA, and just for that, B tier. Big paintball. Man, get this Arsenal ripoff off my screen. D tier. Next up, Legends of Speed. Wait, you can race? Alright guys, let's race. E tier. At this point, you guys must be getting kinda tired of hearing my voice again and again and again. So I'm going to introduce my friend Vicky, who is way much more shorter than me, but is a bigger and a better gamer than me because he's played all the Assassin's Creed that I know. So I'm going to send him over the list of the remaining Roblox games and he's going to rank some of them. All I have to do now is just call him and let him know.
Hello.
I have a job for you. Would you like to rank Roblox games with me?
Hell no. Bye.
What? Okay, so then while my friend is busy ranking those 30 Roblox games, we can continue on with our list. So the next game on our list is Pet Simulator. If I'm not a big fan of Pet Simulator X to begin with, then I don't really have much expectations from this one either. But, you know, a man can be hopeful. Okay, so Pet Simulator follows the same idea as the Pet Simulator X, but it's just that the graphics quality is a bit low. I know how iconic this game is, but right now when compared with other games in the list, don't hate on me on this, but it's a D tier game. Next up are Tycoon games. I find them fun initially and then at one point it starts to get boring. So Theme Park Tycoon, Restaurant Tycoon and the Lumber Tycoon, they're honestly all B tier. Okay, next up is Vehicle Legends. I've played this game several times. Not really a big fan of it, but it's an alright game, so I'll give it a C tier. As I was about to continue ranking the games, that's when I saw the message. Wait, did you just put Squid Games in A tier?
Yeah.
Why? It's clearly an S tier game, and some of the ranks that you have given to certain games are controversial to say the least. These ranks are horrible.
My man, I play Assassin's Creed for fun, okay? You get what you want, you don't get anything. Be happy.
That doesn't make any sense. He left the call. Next up in the list was Animal Simulator. Played it for a bit. Played as a monkey, kind of fun. Then played as a panda for a bit. Also a kind of fun. So, but when compared with other games on the list, I think this game is a C tier. Next up, Counterblocks. Counterblocks, I've played it. I've even played Counter-Strike several times. So, and just the fact that they were able to replicate Counter-Strike in Roblox is kind of amazing. So, I'm gonna give it a A tier. Next up, Broken Bones 4. I really like the idea and the concept of the game to see how many bones that you can break from jumping from several different stages of height. So it's definitely a B tier game. Next up in the list was Anime Dimensions Simulator. Played it and the fact that I got to Naruto run in it and the world design was incredible. Definitely A tier. Next up is Car Crashers 2. The first driving game entry into the question mark tier because I just kept bugging out. What is happening? I'm under the map. Next up is TTD3. Now TTD3, I do not know. Maybe I'm too old for this game. It's just emoting and stuff, so I'll put this in the question mark tier. Next up was Rogul. Now Rogul was fun, a lot of fun, but the combat started to get repetitive after one point, and the fact that I just kept on dying again and again definitely didn't help the cause either. And that's not a game's problem, that's much more of a me problem. So I think personally I will put this game in the B tier. Next up is Strongest Battlegrounds, and this game also reminded me a bit of Blox Fruits with its combat. I know it's not exactly the same, but it's kinda similar, but I like the combat of it nonetheless, so I'll give this game a B tier. Next up is Tower of Fun, and I think it joins all the other towers in the list, E tier. Next up is Driving Empire. Now Driving Empire is the first driving game on Roblox which I actually enjoyed just because of the vast variety of vehicles that you can use, so I'll definitely give this game an A tier. Next up is Doomspire Brick Battle. That is probably one of the coolest name of a game I've heard in a Roblox, and just for that, A tier. Next up was Escape the Dungeon Obby, an obby which I actually enjoyed because it was creative in its essence and that's what I liked about it. So I'll give this a bit of a higher ranking, definitely a B tier obby. Alright, next up is Field Trip Z. For the first time, a zombie game in the list which I actually enjoyed, so definitely an A-tier game. Next up was Combat Warriors. Already played it, made a video about it. I have a lot of hours playing that game. It's got a cool parry system which I like, so definitely a B-tier game. Next up, Insane Elevator. My brain just could not understand what was happening in that game, so I'll put this in the question mark tier, again for you guys to rank. Moving on to the last and the final game, Skywars. I really hope that this game is either a A tier or a S tier. But when you play the game, you realize that it follows the same concept as Bed Wars, but it's not that great, and it really doesn't live up to the level of Bed Wars. And since Bed Wars is S tier, I'll give this game an A tier. And now that the 100 games are completed, this is the final list.